today we're going to be doing another JS program, which will be related to Fahrenheit Celsius conversion. So, I'm going to go back to replit.com and I'm going to open a node.js REPL. I'm going to create it. And I always like putting a comment at the top that basically describes what the program does. Now, these are some basic console programs. Later on, I'll make a series including HTML and CSS, which will include graphics. So be tuned in the series. Be tuned in my channel. So I'm gonna name it Fahrenheit Celsius converter. Now I'm gonna also print in the console what I just said. Log enter 1, not yet actually. Fahrenheit Celsius converter. I'm gonna take some input statements. First, I'm gonna tell the user enter 1 for a Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion console.log enter 2 for a Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. That way it's universal, just like in our last video from the BMI index program. After that, we're going to take var input statement. We're going to call the variable input. We're going to parse float, prompt, and then arrows. Now I'm going to create some functions, which will be extremely important for the functionality of the program. I'm going to call this function f2c with an argument, with no argument actually. In this function, we won't really have an argument. We'll have an argument in the next function. So in this function, we're going to create another function called to Celsius. To Celsius. And then this function, we're going to have a Fahrenheit argument. Fahrenheit and height. Okay, after saying that, curly brackets, braces, return. We'll need the Fahrenheit to Celsius formula for this one. Return 9 divided by 9 times parentheses the variable Fahrenheit minus 32 semicolon, just for reassurance. After that, we can create two more variables, var temperature equals parse float prompt enter the Fahrenheit temperature. Now the computer is asking the user for the Fahrenheit temperature. After that, we're going to create a Celsius. We create a variable called Celsius is equal to 2 Celsius temperature. Now that way the variable temperature is a parameter for the argument Fahrenheit, and we are calling the 2 Celsius function. So in that way, everything that's happening, it's just calculating right now. Now in this line, it'll print the results. Console.log the temperature in Celsius is plus Celsius. It'll print Celsius, the variable, and for this to be accurate, I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna search degrees symbol, and I'm gonna find it right here. I'm gonna copy paste it for accuracy. Control V, now we have the symbol, and then the capital C, so degrees Celsius. Now we got this whole function working. Function F to C is done. Now we're gonna commit another function called C to C to F, and an argument called Celsius, basically the exact opposite of what we just did. Actually, not right now. We don't need that argument right now. So now we're gonna create another nested function. We're gonna call it 2 Fahrenheit with an argument called Celsius. This time we're gonna actually use an argument called Celsius. Celsius, curly brackets, or as you can say, braces. Return statement. Return. Now this is the formula for C to F. 9 divided by 5 parentheses times parentheses Celsius plus 32. I took the Fahrenheit and Celsius formulas and implemented them into this program, just as you should. After that, we finish up this function. Then we basically do the same thing that we did in this. We can Control C, Control V, copy paste that, but we're gonna tweak this up a little bit. This time we're gonna ask the user for the Celsius temperature so we can convert it to the Fahrenheit. And instead of var Celsius, we're gonna say var Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit 2 Fahrenheit 2. 2 Fahrenheit. Okay, 2 Fahrenheit temperature. Done with this almost. Now we're gonna finish off the function by printing the value that the computer generated. The temperature in Fahrenheit is plus the variable Fahrenheit plus the degrees symbol again. I'm gonna copy paste the degree symbol and then the capital F degrees Fahrenheit. Finish off the function. Now that we've written both of the functions, the main functions down, we can go ahead with the conditions. Now we're gonna say if input equals 1, braces F to C. Now we're gonna call the functions based on the conditions. Next will be else if. I'm gonna create an else if statement inside the parentheses. Input equals 2 if the user enters 2. Don't remember that input was a prompt statement, not a it was a prompt variable, so it's not an inbuilt function. Input 2 braces C to F. Now we called the Celsius to Fahrenheit function. After that, else, just for clarification if the user has entered incorrectly, please enter 1 or 2. And that just wraps up the whole program. Let's test it now in the console. As you can see, it prints neatly right over there. I should, in fact, just add an N line just to like make it more organized. So now this is a universal program. It'll work for anyone around the world, Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever temperature it shows on your computer. You can convert it to the other system and then find out the other temperature. So perhaps this guy lives in a state or a country where Fahrenheit is the main temperature measuring system. So enter the Fahrenheit temperature. In my computer it says 92 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna enter that 92 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll tell me the temperature in Celsius, just like the function should work. The temperature in Celsius is 33.333333333336 degrees Celsius. So it should work the other way too. If I press 2 for Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion, then enter the Celsius temperature, pretend it's 33 degrees, then it'll tell me, oh, whoa, it's hot, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. So that wraps up our video on the Fahrenheit Celsius converter, which is an awesome program. So make sure to like and subscribe, share this video, and please tune in for more awesome uploads.